Well, hello everybody. It's Brother Todd with your Victory Minute. I hope you guys and gals out there are all having a great day. Forgive me being out here in the hay lot. You're probably hearing that wind. I'm trying to get this old camera set up behind this tractor where you'll be able to hear me. So hopefully it'll work. I lost my little wind sock and they got me another one. I keep forgetting to put it in the truck. I was had to go to Ennis, and I knew my partner was going to be down here at the hay lot. I thought I'd run down here and holler at him a minute, but I missed them. They're already, they already come and gone. And, great thing about having a partnership is one of you gets the good end of the deal and the other one gets the bad end of the deal. Well, I get the good end of the deal, and old brother Brandon, he does the lion's share all the work. Let's put it that way. But anyway, I missed him, but I've been thinking about doing this little Victory Minute, and I thought, well, that tractor will make a good windbreak. So here we go. I've been talking to you a lot about putting the things you can put in your life that'll help you with the things that you're dealing with in your life. And I have made allusion during this time, and I've talked about this on a relatively common occurrence with me if I'm talking to people about living life, is to really see if I can get this thing to look right. It's driving me nuts. Is to get people to realize that God's made you with different aspects in your life and with your life. And if you recognize those aspects of your life, you can make sure that you're thinking about them. And when you think about those aspects, then you can do something with them and not have one of them neglected to the point that it begins to drain on the other realities of your life. You've probably heard me talk about, like, every aspect of your life is like a fuel tank. And if one of them gets low, it starts pulling on the others. So if I get low spiritually, it can affect me physically. It'll affect me emotionally. It'll affect me in my relationships. Those are all four areas that we all have, and we have to try to be keeping those tanks full, and we have to mind them. We have to be mindful of them. And it's real easy in this world to get distracted to the point that you maybe quit emphasizing one of them, or one of them you find it hard to keep it full, and it's constantly drawing on everything else. And if you hadn't ever caught any of these things, what I'm talking about is if I physically don't feel well, then it can affect me emotionally. It'll drain me emotionally. If it drains me emotionally, it may touch my relationships. If it starts affecting my relationships, I may get very melancholy or something like that. It may really begin to pull me down spiritually. So as we're filled, and God fills us daily. The old patriarch didn't say, as your year will be, so shall your strength be. But as your day is, so shall your strength be. And so walking in that reality, we know God's got the capacity to give us filling, but we have to be conscious of these realities in our life. I'm sitting here looking, of course you can't see it in this camera, but I'm looking at my old truck. And back when I was a kid and a teenager, it was real popular for a pickup truck to have two fuel tanks on it. And you could buy them extra from the factory that way, and they had a switch. A lot of them had a switch right at the bottom of the driver door. Old Fords were right there at the driver door. And they had them there for convenience sake. So of course, instead of carrying 20 gallons of gas, you could carry 40. And now, of course, that doesn't make much sense because you can pull in anywhere with a credit card, 2 o'clock in the morning, put it in a gas pump and get gas out. But back then, gas station wasn't open. Well, you just out of luck, so it wasn't as convenient. But the one thing you had to do was be mindful of those tanks, because you'd fill one of them up, you'd switch over to the other tank. If not, gas in one tank would get old, and next thing you know, it was a process. It was one of those things you had to be mindful of. And that reality is what I want you to be thinking about when you think about your the reality of your spiritual life, your physical life, your emotional center, and what's going on with your relationships. What can you do to be mindful? Well, one of the things that you can really do that'll keep you mindful of the realities of your life and help you feel those realities of your life is, as you consider those areas, consider making certain that within my spiritual life, my physical life, my relational life, my emotional life, and hopefully I said them all, 4 of them, and didn't say one of them twice, spiritual, physical, emotional, and relational, then if you're mindful of those things and you're thinking about something bigger than yourself in regards to your spiritual life, right? Going down the list. I know I've said spiritual, emotional, physical, and relational 1,000 times already. But if you will think about in your life, making certain, try as best you can to daily do things that are bigger than just you and bigger than just right now. So it moves towards the future. It's either eternal or it's going to pay a better consequence, right? If think physically, okay? Physically, it's hard to be eternally minded physically, but I'm headed to go get a bite to eat, okay? Now, I can go get the kind of food I really, really like, okay? I can't sit down and eat Taco Bell for 30 minutes, right? No, it's bad for my blood sugar, bad for my heart, all that, right? I have to make choices now that are going to pay me dividends later, okay? So I'm thinking about it, okay? Wednesday's my off day from the gym, and I always used to hate my off day. Now I love it, right? But tomorrow morning I'll have to get on up and head to that gym. No more, even though I can't hardly do anything in there anymore, or don't seem to do anything in there anymore. The reality is I'm thinking about doing something that's going to help me tomorrow, that's going to produce a result. Those same type realities, to it being spiritually minded, really seeking to be following the Lord, right? Really concentrating on that vertical relationship. So I'm going to tell you something. You can be empty in all three areas, and if you'll walk strong in the Spirit, I've seen people in their last days of bone cancer have the best days of their life, right? Because the Spirit can really carry, but you have to be mindful of it. You have to put the things in. We've talked a lot about that on these minutes here lately. If you hadn't got to catch them, go back and catch a couple of them, where we talk about how to really build in that prayer life, getting the word in, and those kinds of things. In your relationships, doing things that are selfless, doing things that build it. It'll move you past just doing what you want. It'll move you past getting too melancholy or fatalistic. It helps you to serve and to think about somebody else, to think about bigger things, right? Emotionally, to be thinking about good things, The Bible said, dwell on these things. But what I'm talking about, however as you think about it today, and I've been making these things too long, so I'm trying to keep them under 10 minutes from now on, but good luck trying for me. But the reality is, if you'll give that, like that old switch in that old truck, I've got to be mindful of it. Think about something today I'm doing that was spiritual in nature, that's going to produce something eternal. What have I done in people that's going to help them? It's going to bless them. It's going to build them. It's going to minimize me. Our flesh longs to be first. Boy, when you make the flesh be second, I'm going to tell you what, guys, that's where the power comes. That's just where you're living in love, because the love you got to really sacrifice. Emotionally, what are you doing to feel better? What are you doing to think better? Be meditating on the word, right? Decide right now you're going to change your attitude, even while we're listening, right? We live in a moody society. We don't need moodiness. Your kids don't need moody, right? Moods work good for 2-year-olds, but that's a decision. It's a decision. Physically, what are you going to do? What are you going to do that's going to produce you being a better you for the Lord, for others, for your world, for yourself? Because the reality is, all these things come in and fill a person, and all of us feel better when we are filled, right? We all F-E-E-L better when we are F-I-L-L-E-D, okay? So just think about it a minute and be mindful of it, right? You can't take off on this old tractor and go to work unless you first look at that fuel gauge, all right? And if that fuel gauge is low, you can't complain about it, can't gripe about the price of diesel. You know what you got to do? You got to go do something about it, okay? And if you know you're low spiritually, do something about it. Quit crying about it. You don't feel good physically, maybe you're sick. You know what? Do what you can do, okay? Emotionally, you decide you're going to think well, you're going to do good, and relationally, build somebody today. Say something to somebody that's going to make them feel better. Do something for somebody that's going to create selflessness in you, blessing in them, and happiness from God towards you. I guarantee you, He'll move in it. All right, I'm going to get out of here. Hey, guys, be sure to like these things, subscribe them, and forward them. Every time I talk about this, y'all really forward them out. And when you forward these things out, we end up with 3 times as many people watching them, because they don't give a rip that they got something from old Todd Peavy. But if they got something from a friend of theirs, then you know what? They take it. We get words all the time. Somebody we don't even know from anywhere, right? They'll call and say, hey, there was something that you said there that helped, because the Bible says it pleased God by the foolishness of preaching to save those that would believe. You know, we're all in this together, and we're all trying to walk with the Lord. We're all trying to be a blessing. We're all trying to be a help. We want to be stronger, and I hope that that's what you are. I always start these things by saying, well, hello, everybody. I'm Brother Todd. I hope you guys and gals out there are having a good day. I want you to have a good day, all right? Be mindful of the realities of your life and do something that's going to fill that tank. All right, I'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.